their sport, and unfortunately New Mexico is one of the last that's allowed to kind of go into event status. So we have probably more people this year counting on us to have a fantastic show and just to do something than ever. So we're looking forward to it. Again, it'll be, of course, hosted by Master Eric Swan, and he wasn't able to come tonight. He has pneumonia. He did have that second vaccine, so he can go home over the summer to Hawaii, and it really got him good. So he's a little more than under the weather. So our sponsor monies, of course, always go to support the fight, as well as we do donate to a couple of charities. This year we intend to obviously donate to Ronald McDonald House Charities and our Veterans Foundation. We are pondering looking at the suicide awareness topic this year, so trying to figure out how we can maybe implement that or do one or the other instead this year. And I think that's, y'all know the deal. Other than that, if you have questions, though.
Yeah, thanks, Jessica. I do have a question for maybe Leanne. There was $15,000 allocated last year.
That's still available.
Still available. Okay. And I had some questions on your advertising plan.
Mm-hmm.
The first line is the Octagon.
Uh-huh.
What?
So, okay, so in years past, Eric rented the cage. In the last, right before the, what was supposed to be number 9 fight, he actually invested in that cage. So we've created a way for folks to sponsor that cage. And so we will put banners and actual cage stickers on the Octagon, on the corners, the 8 corners, in the center, wherever, and then up on the top rail. We'll have marketing there.
Okay. The T-shirts, are those sold? Are they?
Those are given away.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mainly for staff and the security.
The prizes from Amazon, are they all branded?
Yes. I meant to bring y'all pictures of that. I forgot. I apologize. Yes. Eric has created stickers. The City of Clovis larger sex sticker goes on, he makes like a goodie bag of sorts that has pre-fight materials in it, as well as things after the fight for each fighter. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the banners, are they going up around town? Are they going, what are the plans with the banners?
So we usually have 2 to 3 banners around town, but most all of them go in the event center. We probably print maybe 20 or more banners, depending on our budget and kind of what we have left over to allot that way. We have looked into, I actually invested this last year and a half ago in the barrels. So I've got tons of barrels that I can put signage on this year. So I'll probably go that route as far as putting signage around town.
Okay. Same posters, are they around town? Are they outside of town? Where
Posters, we have different teams that go around and flyer cars. Also, our sponsors put out posters, little like 4x6s in their stores. A lot of our restaurants do that up by their registers and whatnot.
So are any of those going outside of town?
Oh, yes. Yes. We do have lots of his teams like to go out to the, Muleshoe, Melrose, Portales area. In like Roswell, Hobbs, the bigger cities that we advertise in, we don't usually put posters out over there. Or flyers.
Okay. The streaming platform, the YouTube, can you tell me more about that one?
I can try.
Is that just the event being streamed? Or
No,
is-
no, no. So Eric's actually got footage from the last fight that he started streaming right after the fight. Now, whether or not that's continued in the last year, I don't believe so, but we will most likely put money into putting that back on YouTube probably a month out. And then, of course, we'll have a new video made with our sponsors named and whatnot, and just highlights from the fight put on YouTube. And then after the fight, we'll have that new fight footage to advertise.
So it's old fights, previous fights, advertising this upcoming fight.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then cage fighter equipment, gloves, hand wraps, corner supplies.
Those kind of work the same way as the goodie packets. He puts the stickers as well on the bags, so like the fighters get the gloves, and that's part of what I was referring to when I said pre-fight stuff and post-fight stuff. So he has a bag of the gloves and the shirts and I think a pair of boxers that go in one bag, and then they get another bag afterwards.
Quick question, if I can add on to that question. So are each of these items labeled?
No, ma'am, it's.
So just the bag
a
that's
stick-
holding them?
Yes, ma'am. Usually we will put one of the T-shirts that has all the sponsors on it in the bag. So that will have,
So is the $1,000 the cost of the bags or the cost of the gloves, the hand wraps, the corner supplies?
no, the $1,000 is the cost of the stickers and the printing that he puts on the bags.
And then the belts have the appropriate Clovis.
The belts
seal of
have
Clovis.
the logo engraved on the actual metal belt part of it.
For City of Clovis?
Yes, ma'am.
So in the past, we had talked about the Octagon, and because it's sponsored, it's not, doesn't qualify, does it?
Yeah, I wouldn't see the Octagon being a qualifying request, simply because it's not advertising the event itself. As well as the T-shirts for the participants are fine, but T-shirts for staff, we don't allow. It has to be a giveaway to go out into the world. And then the banners that are inside the venue itself, those wouldn't qualify either, so it has to be, once again, banners that are outside advertising the event. And then flyers, I'd warn you that putting flyers actually on vehicles inside the municipality is against the city code,
Okay,
so don't do that.
okay.
And I guess the question, what's the difference between the Amazon prizes and the fighter prizes?
Where are you seeing that?
There's a line item for,
Amazon, there's not. That was a double line item, I apologize.
so is it 2,000 or 400?
It's 1,000. 2,000 or 1,000.
But they're asking for both?
No.
2,000 for prizes and 400 for belts.
So the belts only go to, so the prizes are what we talk about, that's in the bags that they get before and after the fight. The belts only go to, there's only, I think, 3 or 4 belts. And so those are totally different. Those are,
But I thought the cage fighter equipment were in the bags,
right.
the line above that, so that's that $1,000. So is the 1,000 we're Xing out? Because it's part of the Amazon bags?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Does that make sense?
Are you saying that the total dollar amount is in, so it's 2,000 instead of 1, or is it 2 plus 1?
No, it's 2,000 total.
Okay, so we're ixnaying this one.
And then, just, did I miss it? What was Justin Manila?
Justin is the social media fella that handles our social media, but that's his budget to do our advertising on the social media.
So Justin, I have a question though. So on the items that are going in the bags, do they need to be individually advertised, right? You can't just
Correct.
put them in the bag.
Correct.
So every item in that bag would need to be labeled.
And when you say labeled, do you mean like a sticker, engraved, printed?
Sticker that says
Permanent.
City of Clovis.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question? What was the attendance on the last fight?
It was close to 800, I believe.
Okay, so we actually, with these numbers that we are allowed to operate, then we should be safe,
Yes, sir.
with the exception that we would like to have more.
Right, absolutely.
On these advertising radios or medias, is there any of them, in Spanish language?
No, not yet. The problem is we don't have many Spanish platforms as far as radio around. There are some towards Amarillo, and the last one I knew of around here was the one I used to work for that's no longer in business. So
Okay.
I think there's one in Roswell, if I'm not mistaken now.
And I was going to
that-
suggest that one in Roswell.
Yes,
I
sir.
think they're very aggressive and promoting, so.
Yes, sir.
Maybe I'll give you the number later on and let you know.
I
who
have it.
is. You have it?
Yes, sir.
Which one is it?
I don't, I'm not
name of
familiar
the
with their,
station.
I'm not familiar
It's a
with their.
test. It's a
I know my
test.
stations, but I'm not super familiar. I had to find it for another client the other
Okay.
day, so
All right, it's just
don't tell anybody.
it's just a suggestion. I mean,
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Roswell is an hour and a half, so is Amarillo and Lubbock. So if you can draw people from there and there, Roswell and the Spanish language will be a little something different.
Absolutely.
In my opinion, and I think they're they're liking that since we just had the Canelo fight on Saturday. People want to see those things. And
Yep.
September,
25th?
well, September 16, around that time, I think he's going to fight again. So you're going to have that momentum going.
Okay.
We saw Canelo again or another fight in September 25th. Hey, let's go watch another fight somewhere.
There's a big fight in Vegas as well happening, and I don't,
Right.
somebody's gonna kick me for not knowing their names because they're, like Guinness Book of Records or something, but that's happening, I think, the weekend prior as well, so,
Right.
yes, it's a big month.
Right, and again, the momentum that you have going with fights here and there and everywhere, bring more people into this
Absolutely.
area. So if we can add another 200 people into the arena, I think it would be great. And by
Absolutely.
that time, I hope it's going to be 75%.
We hope to.
And the event is scheduled for September, so that gives us some time to hopefully
Right,
the restrictions to relax even more.
right. So just a thought. Thank you.
Thank you.
Board, Jess, do you have one?
Yes, I actually have a question. So you said that I guess in 2019, you had 14 families along with coaches and other team members staying with the hotels. Is there anything that you're doing with the hotels to encourage more people to stay the night?
No, not specifically. I always encourage the hotels, if depending on what sponsors I have, I try to get coupons and gift cards and things like that to give to the hotels so that they can give the incentives to those folks that we've paid for to stay there.
Okay.
Usually that goes to the folks that we've kind of helped to stay there, but, and it really just depends on our sponsors, what they're able to give and whatnot,
Okay.
so.
Just have the fights late at night,
Have them late at night?
late, 11, so they don't have to drive back home.
Right, absolutely. We have to talk our event center into staying open that late, though.
I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
Jessica, so the event is just a one-day event?
Yes, ma'am, but the fighters come in, and this year they're having to come in earlier. We have weigh-in the day before the fight, And so that's kind of an event in itself. It's much, much smaller. There's only maybe 100, 150 of the families and coaches that show up with the fighters, but that's what starts the momentum towards the fight day.
So how many fighters?
Well, usually we'll schedule for 20 times
fighters?
2, that's 40 fighters. And then usually we hope that 20 show up and or weigh in properly. So a lot show up sometimes, but they don't weigh in. If you don't weigh in, or for example, this year, if they're not COVID-free, they'll be sent home. So.
Right. So as an example, the last time we had one here, how many fighters did we have?
We ended up having 9 fights, I believe, so there was 18 fighters total that fought. That's not to say there wasn't about 50 in the crowd, but because we didn't necessarily have to send them home.
Any other questions?
That the last event was very well organized.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, it was very good.
That was a new deal for us, but we got very good feedback, probably the most positive feedback that we've gotten thus far, and we've never had bad feedback. So Eric's always been very professional, and I've always been very happy to work with him. So the bigger venue is certainly something else that we, something new that we took on.
Yeah, and it was okay. We had people on the bleachers, we had people downstairs, the VIPs, and that's the option that they get. So,
Right.
And I think I mentioned that one of the times. I said, have different pricing. That way everybody, even the ones sitting upstairs, were able to see very well to,
Right.
To the
Right.
center of the octagon. So that
Right.
was good.
I don't have any other questions.
Anyone else? Jessica, thank you.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate your support always.
Thank you. Thanks for putting it on. It's a good one. All right, second up is True Roping Productions.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
Okay. Of course, I clicked off of this just now, so it totally went down. And I didn't print one out, so that is my fault. This year, we are running our 10th annual True Roping Productions event at the Curry County Event Center. We have, just as Jessica had spoke about, we have spoke with Casey Messick about the availability of having our roping and team ropers in and out, because we expect this to be a highly attended event this year. And so we want to make sure that everything was okay. Due to the outdoor arena where we separate the team ropers at times and the vicinity, we don't have that many close contacts, so that wouldn't be a problem. This year we anticipate over 1,500 team ropers plus families. This is due to the fact that we were approached by multiple other, I would guess, cities outside of New Mexico to hold this event at their place. There was quite a few very good offers, even with their lodger's tax there, like, we'll get in touch with you here, you can stay here. We'd have to bring a trailer with all our motorized vehicles, like Polarises and things like that, because we wouldn't know the area. We'd have to travel around. So we were offered multiple times to just take this event somewhere else. As you know, we're the only ones around the area that give away a King Ranch 2021, but also the trailers, the saddles, everything along that comes with that. So there's a lot of team ropers that really try to come from all around. And we do have some from here, but we do have plenty from Oregon, places you wouldn't even expect, come down and attend this team roping. That's due to our advertisement in the Super Looper magazine, as well as the advertisement in the Team Roping Times magazine. We also send out little flyers beforehand, and we do a call-in where they can call in and say that they're going to come to the team roping, and they prepay for themselves and their team members before the event actually starts. So last year, this was kind of a a little bit crazy. We actually lost quite a bit of money that I'm not asking for this year due to giveaways and things like that, because we had already pre-purchased them, thinking our event would be able to take place. It was that weird time where we didn't know if we were going to open completely back up or anything like that. So this year I'm coming in and I am requesting the 40,000. I know that you had just said if we were awarded the 15,000 last year, and we weren't available to use that. And so this year I'm requesting the 40,000. And if you go down the line items, you'll see some of the things. I believe the auto image and the anchor / apparel are the only two that need to be switched. The amounts of those are switched. So it's the 8,000 for the auto image and the 4 for the other. If you look at the all of the items, we stay local. So not only do we produce and purchase the items for the lodger's tax as giveaways, we produce everything here as much as possible, even as buying the truck from here from our local truck dealership. And so we try to stay as much as we can in our area to provide work and services for everybody around here as well. And like I said, last year we just counted it as a loss. We had quite a few losses within our family due to COVID, things like that. So I started to add things together and put all of that, and it was just like, you know what, forget it. We're going to give this stuff away, and it's, that year's over with and done with, and we'll just start fresh this year. And so, like I said, this year we're just going to ask for the 40,000. If you look and see it, we spend over 200,000 in our trophies and prizes. They all say Clovis on them. I won this truck in Clovis. I won this trailer in Clovis. The saddles have the Clovis emblem. The buckles have the Clovis emblem. Even the prizes that we give away, the knives and little things that we give away that are just smaller, they all have the I won this in Clovis, New Mexico. And I believe that's it. If you have any questions.
Ward, any questions?
So this is a 3-day event, right?
Yes, sir. It is June 25th through the 27th. Our workers who come from out of town, they come the previous days, and we try to work with some of the hotels to maybe give us a room rate if that's available. If not, they still have to purchase the room on their own accord. We do have some people, as far as our announcer, his name is Farron Lucero. He's very popular in the arena roping announcers. We'd like to give him a complimentary room at one of our host hotels. If not, like I said, we purchased that for him as well because he comes from out of town. He's somebody that stays here with his family because he'll be here the 3 days as well.
And I have a quick question.
Yes.
I may have missed this, and I apologize if I did. On the anchor / apparel, the shirts and hats.
Yes.
What are those used for?
Giveaways. So whenever we drive the truck and the trailers through the arena, we throw out hats, T-shirts, sometimes T-shirts with actual money in there. I don't ever ask for money. It's on the spur of the moment how much my dad wants to give away. My dad's Jerry Trujillo. He's the producer of the roping, but it's kind of like we go down. It's like, oh, we're breaking even. Put tens in there. And if it's like, oh, we're making some money, let's put hundreds in there. So we throw away prizes, koozies, things like that out to the crowd. They're giveaways for the wives that have to sit there all weekend and watch their husbands rope with the dirt and the dust and everything like that, and the children and things like that. So they're just for the giveaways that we give out to the crowd.
And I know this is going to be a redundant question we ask almost every time. Those will have the Clovis, New Mexico imprinted
Yes,
on them.
So we worked with our apparel companies, and we put like our logo on the front, we put Clovis on the side, and then we put the emblem on the back. So we kind of have it all around that we have Clovis on there, Clovis, New Mexico, because we kind of want to provide that for everybody. We want to bring people to Clovis. Like I said, when we were asked to go out of town, we were like, oh, here's this great deal. And we're like, well, we've been here for 10 years. You know, Casey and his staff, they treat us very well at the event center. If we have problems with the internet or anything like that, they're right there helping us out. They help drag at the arena. They help us. We actually brought the dirt into the event center to build that second arena that's outdoor. So my dad's company helped to organize that because we did have team ropings that lasted till 2 a.m. And so we bring people in. My brother, who is also part of this, his name's Michael Trujillo. He's the National Collegiate Team Roping Champion, along with Chance Kinney from Portales at Eastern. So he's out there flagging for the team roping, and you have a lot of our youngsters that come out to come see them, because he'll go out there and rope sometimes and be part of the event as well. I know that we had, talked about some of our local champions here. I know we're not the same as like steer wrestling and all that other kind of stuff, but team roping is a popular event, and with having a national champion, a lot of times people just want to say, hey, to my brother and things like that, because he did win at a very young age, and he's within that circuit, I guess.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
So you answered Gail's question on Anchor apparel. Is Backwoods just another vendor for the same? Are you using the same
Essentially
things?
the same.
Okay.
There's different styles that we go with, but we also separated them because a lot of these go into our goodie bags, which we provide to the hotels for anybody who stays under our name. So when they go into a hotel, they'll give the hotel we have cards there, but if they just say that they're with True Roping Productions, they'll get some sort of maybe room rate. If not, they get a goodie bag that we provide at the front desk. And I tell the owner or the person working, if they don't show up, give these goodie bags to anybody that's coming from out of town, because we want to show them that we're having this team roping here. We list a map of all of our restaurants around town. We list a map of all of our other hotels, because they oftentimes fill up. I know that we have filled up in previous years, those ones right on Mayberry, because that's right where the event center is. So I advertise for those two quite often, but this year I'm also going to start advertising for the ones that are across town where all the food is, because that's where, if they don't know where to go, they're just going to be able to take a straight shot down there to all of our new food places. And so I give out, and I just started this pre-COVID, where I gave away about probably 10 goodie bags to one of the hotels by Tractor Supply, but I didn't get any feedback because this year in 2020 I didn't ask for it, because it was just, I don't know who was going to run it, how it was going to go, because the Sleep Inn moved in, they have new owner, everything kind of was rotating and going in and out. So I didn't ask how that went across town, how many people stayed from True Roping, but I know for a fact that we book out all of our host hotels on Mayberry.
On your first line item, you've got ad for roping, and then you've got 55,070. Then you've got plus 2,000 for 2020. Are you
Yes.
working? You want reimbursed for the 2020 ads?
That's the only one that I could actually remember that I had a receipt for that wasn't some of our hat makers and stuff, where we started making the hats and kind of made a receipt for that. We just ended up paying them cash and just being done with that. I didn't want to have to make them wait for a reimbursement. The roping magazine and the advertisement will wait for the reimbursement of that.
Do you have any? Perfect.
Part of the 15,000 that.
Okay. So, and then I guess I'd just, for clarification, the 15,000 from 2020, and then the 31, you're asking 31.3. Or
Yes.
your marketing total is 31.3, but you're asking for 40.
Yes. And the reason I'm asking for that, because in 2019, we didn't come up with a definitive answer on the truck and trailers. We buy those outright as trophies, and they say Clovis, New Mexico on them. My argument with that, to receive a percentage of it, I know I'm not asking for a $90,000 truck or, the trailers or anything like that. I never include those in what we purchase, but we purchase those outright, and not to diminish anybody else's prizes. But when I win something from somewhere else, I don't go around and hold my trophy around to everybody. Hey, I won this in Clovis. Hey, I won this in Clovis. Whereas a truck, they see that all the time. It's a traveling trophy. The trailers, you see that all the time. You never see stickers taken off of a trailer. Not only does it have the advertisement of Clovis, I won this trailer in Clovis, New Mexico, it has the advertisements of everybody who is our surrounding. They're not even our sponsors. They're people that we use. So if we used the I'm losing my train of thought, the truck dealership. If we use the dealership, we're gonna put their emblem on the back because we use them. If we use IN Auto Image, we're gonna use Auto Image on our trailers. They're not necessarily our sponsors, but they work with us, so we advertise for them on our trucks and trailers. And so I'm asking just for a portion of that, because essentially they are trophies that we purchase outright and give away outright.
You mentioned, you referred to it as a traveling truck? So does it
Well-
move from winter to winter?
No, whenever they win the truck, for 1 year, we had a winner that was local, so they drove it around Clovis and Bertalis. One of the siblings, took their truck, so they had it at Eastern all the time. But then we've had winners from around, so when they go to other team ropings, they take their truck with all, I won this truck in Clovis, New Mexico, around to their team ropings. Somebody who's gonna rope in our team roping isn't necessarily gonna just say, oh, I won a truck and I'm done. They're gonna move on to the next team roping. And so I'm essentially saying that it's a traveling type trophy instead of something that you win and it's not exposed except after that event. Even if you were to have something that you took home, oftentimes, how often do you say, oh, hey, I won this trophy, and I'm just saying that it's something that's out there that we don't even have to continually say, you won this, because it's out there.
Yeah, it's like Chad Mayfield, he drives a truck around and he's got advertising also,
Right.
so that's what this is.
But it's his. So the winner gets that truck.
Yes.
That's their truck.
Yes.
That's what I wondered about the traveling, because like a traveling trophy
Yes.
goes
Well,
from me to Thomas,
I
from
understand what you're saying,
Yes, yes.
I-
moving around.
Yeah.
Thank
so
you
it's
for
like-
me.
But it's
Yes,
not gonna be
yes.
passed around, so, do you have any idea how much it costs for the wraparound on the truck?
Yes, that's under the auto image. That's the 8,000 that we produce for the wraparound, the stickers, and everything provided for the trailers and the trucks. That also includes banners. The backdrop that says, has the Clovis behind it. So when we take pictures of not only the buckle winners and the high money winners, we have the banners in the background. In previous years, I've never asked for anything like barrels or anything on the outside because I didn't know that I was available. But this year, depending on the amount that we receive, I'm going to include barrels, backdrops, banners around town, banners at our host hotels to draw the lodgers in, and the maps and things like that will have the ads on them that we send out previously before the team roping comes, because people want to know what I'm going to do, where I'm going to eat before they come.
Question for Leanne. So if they were to spend $8,000 on the wraparound, will that be allocated or figure out how?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the wraparound, I don't have a problem with. We're still, because a truck is a truck.
A truck is a truck. You don't know if they're gonna get a knife and scrape all the sponsors away and all the advertising.
Right.
So,
We wrap it.
Well, I'm saying too, if you took a trophy home, who's not saying that you take off the I won this in Clovis?
yeah, well,
It would be
Yeah.
essentially the same
But-
thing.
yeah,
and I-
truck is no $8,000.
I know, this was the argument in
a
years
little
past.
different on
You
the
told me
price.
specifically that it's because it's expensive. That is a quote. That's why we're not giving it to you, because it's expensive. And I understand that, so I'm just asking for a portion of that.
And if I remember correctly, didn't you also mention that they're required to keep the wraps on the trailers and the vehicles for a year
For
at
1
least?
year, yes,
Yeah.
before they take it off.
All right.
Board, any questions?
I don't have any other questions.
Well, just the fact that it's a 3-day event, I think is a good thing to have.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next up, Clovis Chamber of Commerce, visit Clovis Tourism website.
Can you all hear me?
Oh, my. I thought Kim was,
I know.
What are you doing here, Kim?
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you guys for making it work that I could join you virtually. That was very nice. So we are requesting funding to create a new tourist-facing website, visit clovisnm.org. This is going to be a really attractive photo-heavy promotion of our local attractions and events. Specifically, as you all know, our community relies really heavily on our community events for tourism, so this website was suggested to us by the New Mexico Tourism Department. We participated in one of their social and owned media optimization initiatives. I think it was this last August. And one of their main findings when they were reviewing our websites and presence online was that we could really benefit from having a specific tourist brand and website. So, you know, obviously right now the Chamber, the City of Clovis, Clovis Main Street, the county, we all have our own separate websites that host a lot of information that's helpful for tourists as well as people within the community. But this would be a one-stop shop for everyone to come see what in our area they could go do and what events are upcoming and all of that. So whether that's Dragon Main, Pioneer Days, any sort of conference at the Civic Center, this would be really focused on bringing people into the community rather than just promoting the stuff going on to community members themselves. So, like I just mentioned, the New Mexico Tourism Department really thought that we would benefit from this, so much so that we had the opportunity to apply for their, I think it was a cooperative marketing flex grant, and they have awarded us 2/3 of the funding to cover this cost for this brand and website. So today, obviously, we're coming to see if we would be able to receive funding to cover that last 1/3. And we have hired Garrett Mayfield. He's got a super wonderful reputation as far as creating brands, business brands, and websites for places within our community already. And he's got some really great ideas as far as creating a brand that's really going to embody the spirit of Clovis as a friendly destination with fun attractions and events. So this can be a really lasting tourism brand and site to promote all of those fun things. So I know we have, like I said, we received 2/3 of that funding, and the stipulation for that, the website to be completed would be June 15th. So we would be able to have that website created and submit our the refund request and everything closed out by the end of June. So I know that was short and sweet, but I don't know if you guys all have any questions at this point.
Yeah, thank you. It was short and sweet. Thanks for keeping it short and sweet. Board, any questions?
Is this fee going to be like a yearly? Is this something you have to do every year to update, or is this just a one-time?
So at this point, it would just be the one time when we're working with Garrett, he's planning to build it on Wix.com and has agreed to, at the end of creating the website, show us how to kind of manage it. And I should have mentioned this earlier, but this is obviously going to be a website that we can host information from all different organizations, whether that's the city, the chamber, Clovis Main Street, the Curry County Event Center, all that type of stuff. So we will be able to manage it ourselves, and that way we won't need, the only recurring payments would be the normal like domain fees and things like that. Or if we want to in the future try to figure out how to incorporate like ticket hosting or sales and all of that, we can definitely look into that, but for now it would just be the one time.
I have a quick question. So Rachel, this looks like it's just for design and development of the website itself. Is there anything that you guys have anticipated for costs of actually promoting the website? Because you know how it is, a website's only as good as people knowing it exists. So once it's built, are we building anything in for costs related to pushing it out there?
We have not in this request, or at this point, this request, like you said, it only encompasses the cost to create the website and the brand itself. So we can definitely start creating something like that within the next month. That way, when it is finished and ready to promote, that we have a strong marketing campaign ready to go.
Thank you.
So would this be the website going forward that is unique to tourism? I mean, does it eliminate the chamber? Does it eliminate, I mean, I think it just, I know we have other websites out there, and the Chamber's website I thought was the site that promoted this. And is
Right.
it, are we diluting the pool by adding another website, or?
Sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good, go ahead.
So I think that the main reason the New Mexico Tourism Department suggested this was because we do have a lot of that information on the Chamber's website and on the City of Clovis website, but our organizations aren't solely built for tourism, so like obviously we have a lot of our local businesses coming to our website and things like that as well, for community members. So the Chamber's website will still exist to be a hub for information about our local businesses and community members and all of that. And obviously, we already have been exploring ways to incorporate the listings that pop up on the Chamber website on that tourism website. So if someone's searching for, restaurants in town, the same type of listings will be able to populate on this tourism website, but it will be geared specifically for people planning a trip into town rather than community members that already live here that are trying to shop local or get information about what's going on in town.
Thank you for clarifying.
Mr. Chairman, and I have a question along those lines. So I know underneath the current website, there is the Play tab. And so it does list, like it has the community events already listed in there. It lists the Dragon Main events in there. And so how does this differ from that? I mean, if we're already listing all that information, and then who's going to go out and research, I guess, the Civic Center's website or the Event Center's website and pull all that information together? And then do you have to have permission from each one of those other organizations to pull information off their website to put it onto your website?
Right. So I would say to answer the first question about what's different, the main difference would be the visually appealing nature of this. The Chamber Master website that we use for the play section and all of our pages is very limiting in how we're able to format things. So one of the main things that the New Mexico Tourism Department has been promoting is a really, again, high quality, photo heavy website that really draws people in and makes them want to visit these places. So that's going to be one of the main differences is how the website looks. But then also, yes, I absolutely am planning to, when I'm working with Garrett, send all of that take a lot of the information from that play section, refresh some of it, make sure everything's up to date, and work with each of those different organizations and locations and businesses to make sure that what's going on those pages is something they approve of.
Rachel, this is Chase, Chase Gentry. We already have agreements with all the venues. We have a community calendar that we host, and everybody's putting all their events on that community calendar. So we'll be able to take those feeds and put them into this other website. If you go, I don't know if I can share my screen on this, but there's a Visit Albuquerque website that kind of is the same thing. It's built just for tourism, but we'll be able to take things out of our database that we have that we pay thousands of dollars for, and then embed those pieces into this new website. But this is more of a photo gallery and a kind of like a movie type, come and visit type website, more than where the Chamber's more business. And we won't do away with what's in there for tourism in the Chamber's website. This will just be a site that's just for visiting, that'll pull and enhance the view. And I think you're seeing that across the state. The state's trying to get all the communities to do that through the tourism department.
And a lot of the way that they've been doing that is by helping communities create these tourism brands, so that if we can keep it consistent throughout all of our marketing for when people are planning trips here, then it'll stand out in their mind when they see it, whether that's on a billboard or in a print ad or online. That would be, they're pushing this a lot, like Chase said, through Albuquerque. There's a great one for Santa Fe too, I believe.
I put up the Albuquerque, Visit Albuquerque website, and you'll see it's real, it's real clean, easy, friendly, also with your handheld friendly, but it's more to pull somebody in and get them to stay a few days. And so that's what we're going for is this look that would pull people in to stay in Clovis.
I'm
And that
seeing
way,
them.
you know, oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, I'm seeing the main difference is the focus. The focus of this website is strictly tourism and activities, whereas our like chamber website is more functional, business related, and not as cosmetically attractive as one focused on tourism. I would more likely visit this than the chamber website looking for fun stuff to do.
That's what we're hoping.
And then from a branding standpoint, obviously we're going through the community branding initiative currently. Don't we want the two to meld together? And
So
so
we
from a
had
timing standpoint, June 15th is going to be a lot sooner than what our community branding is accomplished.
Right, and we had asked Jim and Mary Ann from Once a Day Marketing, who are doing the community brand, as well as Leighton Moon, who are designing the logo and the designs for the community brand. And they actually said that it was probably better that they are not, so that they could have their own separate identities and be recognizable themselves rather than trying to wait and do them at the same time. So we were worried about that as well, but they did put us at ease about that.
I thought that was kind of the intention of the community branding, though, so that we had one identity. And so now we're creating another identity for tourism versus what our community brand is.
So, and there are actually quite a few communities in the state that have separate community brands and tourism brands. So, one of the I believe it was either Farmington or Alamogordo, but Leighton Moon, who actually is doing our logos and things, had designed two separate brands for that community. So the community brand is more for an overarching brand that the community as a whole can get under, whether you're a business or an individual or a tourist, or what does the community itself represent. Whereas this brand, kind of like what Gail was saying, is specific to tourism. What are those really fun attractions and fun events and things to do here that are bringing people in for that, but not necessarily raising a family or going to school here or all of those other things that are also involved in our community.
We also, there will be a meeting in there, is it this week, Rachel, or next, with the two logo options?
Right, this Thursday.
This Thursday. So there is already a logo design that's been done. It'll be presented this Thursday with a couple of options. And we feel like from the pre-presentation we saw that probably one of those will be something we'll go with, or at least potentially go with. So I think we'll be able to meld this into this potentially, at least in some way, that if everybody agrees on the new logos and things that they're designing.
Right, if that is a goal, then we absolutely can do that.
And then one final question is, this wouldn't go in front of the city commission until May the 20th for final approval. And so if you have a deadline of June the 15th to get this accomplished, that's a really narrow window. And then, so can it be accomplished? And from a branding standpoint, who is going to be a part of that branding initiative, or is this solely going to fall underneath two people making a decision for our entire community?
Right. Garrett has given us a timeline and has said that he's able to meet the June 15th deadline. As far as who is going to be approving all of that, that is definitely something we can discuss. And I don't know if Chase, you have any comments about that. We had initially, since we've been working with the New Mexico Tourism Department, I think had just been planning on executing the plan that they gave us, but as far as approving the brand and logo and all of that, Chase, what do you think?
I think, at the end of the day, it'll be the Chamber of Commerce. So I think Ernie's the one that does the final approval, and it'll be through the work that you do. So that's what we've always done.
I'm just, from a buy-in standpoint, making sure that you have enough people that can support that brand and say, yes, go visit this website, or yes, that's what it kind of goes back to the community, a branding initiative of getting that buy-in to support it. And it could be chamber members. I mean, it's not just, it could be anybody within the chamber. When you start narrowing your field down to who is actually making approvals, and on that approval process, you can set yourself up for failure because you're not going to get the buy-in.
Yeah, and I hear what you're,
Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, because you already have the branding committee, because that same branding committee could be part of this. And I agree with you, Justin. The whole idea was the whole community gets behind this branding in every capacity. You know, my business will get behind it, the community gets behind it, which would, I think, encompass the tourism website as well. But it sounds like that's easy enough to incorporate. So that's why that same committee might be a good.
Yeah, but we're not giving up, none of us, whether the Clovis Rocks, the Chamber, or we're not giving up our own identities to be, I mean, and not, we'd have to have Jim here to explain how it works. We're hoping to incorporate it together, but yet we still want to all have our own identities to go forward. But yeah, I mean, I think this is something that actually Rachel could talk to Jim about and see how we can integrate it, but yet it would still be, I don't know. I mean, they'd have his direction on it.
Which working with Jim and through this process and working with, I know Los Lunas does have several different brands, but there's that theme that's threaded between the different brands, because yes, they do have a different brand for their tourism aspect than what they have for their community recruitment aspect, but there's still, I want to say there's kind of a theme that runs through each one of the brands.
Yeah. So, and we're working on a deadline that was set up by the state tourism department. So we don't drive that deadline, they drive it. So we're just trying to meet their requirements to make it happen. Otherwise, I think we'd be doing it a lot different way.
And you know, worst case too, I know that obviously the brand is a huge part of what will drive the website design, but if for some reason the logo and things take longer to approve, we could always go in and swap out different logos ourselves. Like I said, we'll have the ability to go in and change things if that did take longer. But I do feel confident that, like Gail said, that if we are going to want to get input from a committee, we do have we do have a committee already solidified, and so I feel confident that we can meet the timeline.
Board, any other questions?
No other questions?
I think my only it's maybe just a comment, but when the branding initiative was brought before the board, it was, this is our focus. This unites us all and it gives us a single front to promote. And now we're getting another website that we're supposed to get behind to promote tourism. So from the Lodgers Tax Board, it feels like maybe that's clarification that now the Lodgers Tax Board goes directly behind the tourism website, and the branding initiative is more of a local. I mean, it just seems like, you know, where do we draw the line as a board as to what, because the last time it was submitted was and it felt like a good thing we were all going behind coming out of COVID, and now it's another initiative from another.
I don't think it's another initiative. I just think it'll be a part of the whole. This was something the state put together for the whole state, coming out of their review of all the cities, and they had money they wanted to put into this. But I don't think that it takes away from the branding initiative, and I don't think the intent is. But whatever that brand logo is doesn't mean that it's going to be the only. It's like the variants that Los Lunas has. It can all be tied together, but it's gonna. But we're under, with this piece, we're under a deadline with the state, and we may be able to meet those state requirements, and then, like Rachel said, update it as we progress with the final logo design and all of that. But if it went our way, we would not be doing it. We would let the logo and all that be finished before we do it, but it's because of that grant the state is giving us that we're trying to get this done.
And just to reiterate too, again, I think the main difference is that yes, we really, for the community brand, we do need everyone involved and behind that, as whether you're a business, an individual, everyone in the community, that should resonate with something that you feel like you can either strive to or that you feel in Clovis. Whereas this tourism brand is going to be an identifiable brand from people looking into Clovis saying, hey, why do I want to take a trip to that place? So yes, that would be amazing if businesses and people get behind it, but it's not going to be as identifiable to people within the, I hope people in the community know about it, but really who we're targeting for this are people that are looking in and saying, why do I want to come here?
When was the grant application due to the state? And, I mean, the June 15th timeline is quick. And so, I mean, when was the grant application made, knowing that if awarded, we'd have to, I guess, when was that award for the 2/3 made?
We got that letter, let me double check. We applied for it, I want to say in either end of March or even maybe sometime last month, but let me see when we got the award letter. It was definitely last month.
So when did they advertise that these funds were available? And is it something that they're going to do next year? I feel rushed.
I think this is CARES money they have left or something.
We got really lucky this year that because they did not do their New Mexico co-op marketing program because of COVID and with everything shut down, they decided to do a bunch of recovery readiness initiatives, which is how all of this came to be. So since and those were all free for us. So when we did the social and owned media optimization one, where they kind of did a review of the web presence and all of that within the community, that free initiative then translated to this grant opportunity. So I don't remember when they started funding it. It was one where it was a rolling application window where they said if we run out, then we run out, but if you get your application in before we do, then you still have a chance to be funded. So I think when we finished our social and owned media optimization review with them is when we started thinking about all of this as far as the Visit Clovis brand and website.
Board, any questions?
No.
Rachel, thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
All right, next up is Clovis Main Street, Clovis Children's Action Entrepreneurs and Business Fair.
Good evening, Chairman Martin and board members. I'm Lisa Pellegrino-Spear, the Executive Director for Clovis Main Street. And tonight I am bringing forward to you guys two different applications. And I'll try to make them short and sweet because I'm sure you guys are all ready for restroom breaks. So our first one, I'm really excited to tell you guys about this. My daughter and I made an application to the Acton Entrepreneurs and Business Children's Fair. It's a virtual application that we did, and it is for a children's entrepreneurial fair. So like a craft fair, it's an opportunity for kids to participate, and it's children only. It's a great opportunity for us to market our community youth. Clovis Main Street, as you guys know, is the downtown serves as a host for most of our local small businesses and entrepreneurs, and we're trying to expand that to our local youth so that way then they can see that investing in themselves and their creative spirits is just as important as when people are older, and when they're ready to be businesses, they start learning it at a younger age. Learn how to pick up those business skills and create an opportunity to invest in themselves by doing so within their community. We really want our youth to see our community as a place where they can have a future in and stay here in Clovis and create their own businesses and help develop their community the way that we all do and shape our community. So Acton Children's Entrepreneurial Fair is what they do is they will actually, since we were awarded, our application was accepted and awarded, they will actually host us. They host a website for children's entrepreneurial fairs all throughout the United States. So they will include us in that branding and marketing that they do. So it'll be located on their national website. And then the children can actually even do the registration through that website. And then they also help us with marketing it in a way that it goes through their national campaign. So as it's on their website, it's hosted, it shows where to locate and who to contact for information on it. So that's a great way that we're able to help build it with other local children entrepreneurs that are throughout our region. They do say that a lot of the children's fairs can start off as small as a handful of kids, but we're hoping to get a larger supply of kids than that. We think that we have a lot of local children that have potential and excitement for something like this. And they do pull in people from a lot of distance around those communities too. So we're going to be marketing outside of Clovis. We'll be marketing to all of our smaller communities, regional communities, as well as even as far as Lubbock and Amarillo. And I'll stand for any questions on that.
Board, do you have any questions?
How many nights does this go? Is it just one day or?
So we have two different dates listed. We have October 9th or the 16th. We're planning to do it as a one day to start with, just because it is children and it's hard to get kids to be seated and be there for a whole entire day committed to it. So we're not 100% sure. Majority of the entrepreneurial fairs that we're seeing for the children's ones with Acton was just one day fairs. We do know that families have a large following for these, so majority of these children pull in family members from outside areas to come and support these events. So that is one of the things that I did talk to the organization about, and they said that that is one of their best promotional pieces, is the families and friends that come from outside of the community to come in and support the local youth. So that's one of the big pulls for it. So I think we'll have a few overnight stays for it, like we do our other craft fairs and those type of events. We feel it'll actually probably pull even more than those, just because it will pull those families and friends from the outlining areas and so forth.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa, I have a question.
Yes.
So are the kids bringing ideas, or are they coming to learn about being an entrepreneur? Are they showing their entrepreneur skills?
The kids will bring the products.
Okay.
So they will actually make things that they want to sell. So kids can bring stuff, if it's artwork, whether it's woodworking, metalworking, leatherworking.
When it says it's similar to an arts and crafts fair, they are
Absolutely.
selling their art.
Yep,
Okay,
they are
cool.
selling their homemade goods, yes. And the requirement is that the children have to do this on their own. So they can have the assistance of an adult with them, but it has to be predominantly made by the children. So the item, they can have their parents and, other adults help assist them in the booth to help with the sales and, any paperwork, receipts, and that kind of stuff that they'll need. But yes, it is, the children will be making the products. So just like a craft fair.
What would the time be?
They usually say to start it for it to be predominantly a full day. So we're looking at probably like a 10 to 4 time frame, depending on how long it would be for, what works best for the children. We'll follow their promotion on what they recommend.
You might want to think about what Juan recommended for the fight and do a
Do it
10
later.
p.m. to midnight.
Yes, we'll have all the little kids out late.
It's the parents that'll be falling asleep there.
Or we'll do it really early in the morning, so they have to be here from the night before. Kids wake up earlier. We haven't solidified our date yet because we had picked October 9th, and now our concern is that the Clovis schools does have fall break that same week, and so that could either be in our favor or not in our favor. So we are going to be reaching out to Acton and also see what they kind of suggest if they've had trouble with that, and also with the schools too. But we are looking for October timeframe, which gives the kids, we'll start marketing it as soon as we gain the approval. If you guys are willing to support it, we'll start marketing it, because we'd like to market through the summer. That way then kids can be working on some of those projects anytime, beforehand. So that way then they can start having a head start at that.
I just had one quick question on your advertising plan and budget.
Sure.
Under website construction, which we know is allowed, what is the monthly updates? Is that just?
For us to continue to post more ads on there. So we would actually continue more ads and have different ads. So it's not just one ad that's constantly running. We'll have post more ads on there. And so we would do this on, we would have multiple sites where the kids can get onto it. So it wouldn't just be Acton, because Acton isn't something that people are going to notify or know more locally. We want it to be locally as well too. So that way then people are more familiar with where to go. And the registration would link on there. So that way then they can register, and because Acton has the form already pre-done in a digital format for us.
And of course, it's in October, and of course, in Clovis, we get all seasons in one day. So is there a possibility if it's like cold that day, do you move it inside? Do you have that possibility?
I think we definitely can work on that option. That's why we picked kind of the beginning of October, because we've hosted quite a few fall events. And usually, you know, we know Halloween's that time where we're just putting on jackets and putting on, yeah. And so we kind of wanted to move it a little bit closer to the beginning of October, so that way then it would avoid that. We are planning to do it in the outside courtyard, so that way then we wanted to have it outdoors just because of COVID, since people are still kind of concerned with being too many people indoors. We know that the Civic Center hosted their craft fair, and it went really well, but we also, you know, with kids, we wanted to make sure that we created an environment just in case. We don't know where we're going with COVID right now, so just to be on the safe side, we wanted to plan for it outdoors. People are allowed to bring their own tents, their umbrellas. If it's hot, you know, they'll need umbrellas. And if it's cold, then we can look at an alternative if we need to.
So also looking at your advertising plan, when we're looking at the money spent on advertising, can you kind of speak to which of these are going to be focused on advertising outside of Clovis?
Yes, so all of our Facebook promotions go to outside. We actually set up our parameters so that way then we always include in all of our advertisement that we do on Facebook that it hits over a 50-mile radius. And all of the outlining communities. Same with the website would obviously be something that we would be using those Facebook radio ads, everything into the outlying communities. Our radio ads are always in the outlining communities as well, and they, in fact, I believe they reach up to a 100-mile radius. And then also our newspaper ads as well too go further than Clovis and Portales. They go out to Tucumcari, they go out to all of the outlining areas as well too. So everything, our print advertisement, everything would pretty much be for, we're hoping to market this to not just our region. We want to hit all of the local youth that's in our regional area as far out as 100 miles. We think that we would pull in kids from that. Lubbock and Amarillo don't host one yet, so we'd like to pull kids from there even.
So are banners put up locally, or are they outside of Clovis?
The banners would be locally. So the banners would be here at the event. We would post them outside the event down on Main Street, so that way then people knew that the event was coming. We have the 8th and Main, the courtyard. We would post them up there beforehand as well too, so that way then people would see it and know what to expect, that, you know, there was an event coming that Saturday and that it is a kids entrepreneurial fair.
And this print advertising, the signage for the events, where is that going to go?
Print advertising would be flyers that we would take. We want to take them all to all the schools. We want to go to the regional schools and distribute them there, so that way then kids know that they can start promoting or working on their own projects ahead of time and know that the event is coming up, so that way then they can join it and participate in it.
Any other questions?
No.
So we're good on that one. So
Thank you.
You're up for the next one, the downtown souvenir memorabilia machines.
Okay, so this year's been quite the challenging year, as you guys know, and I always, I'm sure, throw out those extra challenges for you guys too. So I'm kind of creating a little bit more of a creative opportunity for our community. So this is a little outside the box than your standard event, but what we are looking to do is create a more tourist destination for Clovis. We are wanting to create an opportunity for people to be more, to have more pedestrian activities, and again, keep people outside in our community, walking up and down our streets. So one of the things that we wanted to present, it was a little different. One is creating an outdoor memorabilia machines. So having the penny smashers. Our community was built on rail, and as you guys know, the history of the railroad, penny smashing was through the railroad, and so we thought this was a really perfect piece to kind of include into our community. Penny smashers are located all throughout the United States. Here's a map of where they're all located, and these are all over the United States. As you can see, they're heavy in tourist destinations. And we do have some throughout New Mexico. I know Ruidoso has some, Red River has one, Tucumcari has 3 of them. We have one here in Clovis, and it's located at the Clovis Zoo. And I did reach out to the zoo director, who said that people actually do come into the zoo and pay the entrance into the zoo just to get their penny smashed. I know I'm not the only one in the audience who is a penny smashing connoisseur. We love to do this, so we go around, and as you travel, we go off the beaten path and look for penny smashing machines. So the penny smashing machines can be done, decorated and created with community branding and logos and designs on them, like this image here. This is one out of Tucumcari, so it has the Route 66, and it has the imagery on it. Here's some other images of some other different types of machines. So there's multiple different types of machines. Each image of the majority of the machines host 4 different types of pennies. And the pennies themselves will all have the name Clovis, New Mexico on them, because one of the most important things about the penny that you receive is where you got it from. So this is a type of merchandising that goes out to everybody. This is something that you don't just keep here. It's a souvenir that goes on with you. It's memorabilia you get to take with you. And just like this penny smashing machine, we're also looking at sticker machine. Sticker machines are a little bit less expensive, and they are machines that then, as you guys know right now, stickers are a huge marketing promotional piece. People put them on their laptops, they put them on their cars, they put them on their ice chests. Everywhere you go, people nowadays are picking up stickers, and the stickers are the newest way of branding and marketing, and it's a way that people are actually showing off their experiences to others in such a positive style. And we wanted to do this for our community because it's endorsing our community brand and our community assets through local word of mouth, or through word of mouth outside of the local community. So when you do this, a lot of times some of these penny machines, the stickers, those are giveaways. So a lot of people go and they trade stickers, they trade pennies, and they give them away. And so that's one of the things, it's a positive endorsement for our community right off the bat. Items that could be in those sticker machines and the penny smashers, like our penny smashers, we would love to eventually have more than one downtown, but we could have it where it highlighted our historic theaters and had a penny for the different theaters. We could have it for the train park where it had a picture of our train on there. We could have it with the Clovis man. It could have the music history, Buddy Holly. All of those could be different images that people are going to want to smash and put onto their coins and take with them or give away as memorabilia for Clovis. And it walks outside of our community. Majority of these things are things that people are doing as tourists. And so this is a huge way for our community to have that imprint. My family, we have books of pennies where wherever we go, we keep them in a book, and we always look back. And I can tell you, I mean, I have an 8-year-old, and she likes to go and say, Mom, remember that place where we got that penny? Can you show me that penny? And it's an exciting thing. And we have friends that we go and we camp with, and they have ice chests that are loaded with stickers. And those stickers are all a promotional piece. It's walking marketing without us having to pay to ask somebody to go and tell somebody to endorse our community. It's a free endorsement once it's on their ice chest, once it's on their laptop, once it's on their car, once it's on their portfolio, whatever it is that they're carrying with them. People are using that everywhere nowadays. Stickers are one of the biggest branding efforts that major companies are doing this year. And we hope that people will utilize those to help show off what Clovis assets are. So we're going to try to push to our major companies and businesses too, to try to be included in that and have them want to be on those sticker machines, want them to be a part of this. But it's a great way for us to identify our destinations here in Clovis, especially through the penny smashing and the stickers, and designing those to be ones that people are going to want to buy and take with them. Any questions?
Thanks, Lisa. Board?
I am a question person, I know. So if I'm understanding this correctly, the funds that you're asking for is to purchase these machines and the materials that will go in the machines that people will pay for.
So the machines themselves is what we're asking for, and then the design of the item. So the stickers and the pennies have to be designed. So we would have to design what that is. But the people put their penny in the machine, and so they get their penny back. It's just been smashed with our images on it.
But they're buying a product from the Main Street.
From the machine, yeah. We would keep all the funding within the machine, because the
Right.
machine does require updating. It does, when we want to change the images, like say we had this year, it had all the theaters on it or something, and next year we want to do all music things, or the following year all railroad, we would need to change that and update it. And there's maintenance, and they're not a real profitable business. It's really a marketing piece instead of a profiting business. I know I talked to Vince over at the Clovis Zoo already, and he said, people come into the zoo and pay the admission to use the machine. The machine itself isn't really making them any money other than paying for the upkeep and so forth in it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good marketing idea and getting the name out there. I'm just not sure that it falls under the,
I honestly don't believe it falls underneath lodger's tax.
no.
I just, yeah, I mean,
Great
it's not an
presentation.
event, it's not, I don't see it, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
And from a sticker standpoint, I mean, a lot of businesses sell the stickers. I know I have purchased stickers, and it's a business taking that business opportunity to sell those stickers. So if we're just investing in a machine that's going to give those away, or somebody's buying them, once again, I just don't see that as a lodger's tax eligible item.
And that's why I did do research on it to find out where people usually fund them from, and I know our lodger's tax isn't the same as everybody else's lodger's tax, but that was where, because it is marketing the community, it is a community marketing piece for the community tourist destinations. So that's why I felt like this application met those needs, and that the funds would go back into the project, not into, our coffers.
So you think it will depend on where you put those machines?
I'm sorry?
So it will depend on where you put those machines? Like if you put them at the museum?
Yes. So
The zoo, we already have some, Civic Center. I mean, if you have a convention, people will see the machine and they say, I want to get a penny for my collection. And I guess it just depends where you put it. And
Right.
what you put on the machine itself.
Right. And I think that that's one of the things is, people, like I said, there's maps all over online for people who are enthusiasts with the penny machines to go and find these. They find the destinations because it's a tourist destination. It's something that people are doing for tourism.
I see I see a machine at the Loreto Chapel in Santa Fe. They have one in there.
Yep.
And some people are just putting the penny in there just to get that.
Yeah.
So it does, it's part of the tourist attraction or souvenir collecting thing.
Yes.
But it's not generating room nights.
It definitely is generating people into the district.
Interest,
It
yes.
is people, it is a tourist draw.
Right. I don't know if I want to drive from Albuquerque all the way to Clovis just for that, but if
I'm already here.
But if it's a dragging main event and I want to be part of that, and I'm in Clovis and they have a machine, then I will get something. So it just depends how you want to view that.
And like for myself, when we go on road trips and stuff, we look for the machines that are along the way and we stop. And then, you get pulled in to go to this store because it's right next to this adorable little store, and you end up spending your money there, and you end up going to the restaurants that are local because you're getting off the road, off the highway anyways to get into that community. So it is it's a draw and pulling people into the community. It is a tourism piece. It may not create overnight stays, but I think it
spending
creates
money.
people, exactly.
You're spending money in clothes, so that's the other draw that we look for. Groceries, it's tax. It's not just room nights, yeah,
Right.
okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I, on paper, I look at it as lodger's tax funding a small business. Because we are purchasing the equipment to create an item that somebody pays for. It might not be profitable, but, there are years that we weren't profitable. You know, and so but that's the way I see it, is that lodger's tax would be funding a small business.
It would be a branding promotion for Clovis, though. It's a small business that is dedicated only to the branding of Clovis, the community itself. So it's not like an individual's business. It would be for only branding the community.
But it could be, right? Like, somebody could do this on their own as a business.
I used to,
Yeah.
in Arizona.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay.
Lisa, thank you. And
Thank
thank you
you.
for, you do bring
Great ideas.
great ideas.
Thanks, guys. Trying to think outside the box, be creative,
This is
especially in
different.
this
You
challenging
stated that,
year,
yes.
so.
You are.
Thank you.
are.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Next one. Next one is City of Clovis, monthly bunco game nights. Misty?
Thank you.
Aloha and good evening. My name is Misty Bertrand. I'm the general manager of the Clovis Civic Center. I've just presented you with our annual report from fiscal year 1920. It was interrupted halfway through because of COVID, so a lot of our events were canceled, including our monthly bunco game nights that we started in 2018. I've come to you twice before to request money for our bunco game nights. And I'm here again for our next fiscal year, which will be fiscal year 21-22, so starting in July, running through December. If you're not familiar, bunco is a dice game. Like I said, we've been playing it at the Civic Center since 2018. We've had up to 104 people playing with us at one time, folks from all over, Friona, Bovina, Roswell, and we just recruited some new players in Tucumcari today. I was in Tucumcari with the United Way, got on the conversation of bunco, and we will have some new friends joining us the next time we do this. What we're doing differently with our 21-22 bunco is that we will be doing it on a weekend. We're looking at Friday nights, so folks can come in, maybe go to Food Truck Friday, grab something to eat, come to bunco. We'll have it a little bit later at night, so they can stay here. We'd love to make up some type of package thing, maybe with the local hotels, so folks can come in for an entire weekend, make it a bunco experience once a month, maybe partner with other event planners, other things that are going on, just kind of looking. Our event schedule's a little lighter than it's been in previous years, so I think it'll be good to get this on the calendar, and then, like I said, to partner with other events that are going on to make it an experience, not just a one-night game at the Civic Center. If you'll look at our breakdown of, what is this called? Oh, the cost of our advertising. So again, with our 2.5 years experience, we found that most folks hear about us on Facebook, so I am asking for Facebook promotions. The rest of my requests are for the trophies and the participant products. So we find people actually come back to our bunco events for the giveaways that we have. Just little pins, we've given away cups, things like that before, the little stress balls, all of the things branded with the City of Clovis logo. Folks have a collection of all these things that they have. This would also include trophies and awards and we are working with local vendors for all of those as well, and have always put the city logo on any of our trophies, any of our products that we've given out during these events. That concludes my presentation. I'll stand for any questions about our monthly Bunko game nights happening on the weekends at your Clovis Civic Center.
Thank you. Board, any questions?
I do. Misty, I know you guys recently had another Bunko night. How many participants did you have?
So that was actually our first event back after having been shut down for almost a year. And we did have, I just drew a blank, 36 folks that came out for that. So that was with a week and a half of advertising. 36 folks came out. We are not hosting a monthly Bunko this month. For the past year, we've been operating with 2.5 employees, so we are focusing on hiring back our team, creating a new team, so that when we do launch our Bunko event starting back in June, it'll be highly successful and well attended with a full team to run it.
I have a question. Out of those 36 that you had for this night, how many of them were outside the Clovis area?
So 6 were from outside, but none of them stayed the night. It was a Tuesday, so that is one of the reasons that we're looking at moving it on a Friday and making it a little bit later at night. And again, this is funding for 12 separate events that will happen over the course of a year. Roughly, it'll break out to about $400 a month. One event will have that $1,500. You'll see that there's 2 entries for Dotson laser engraving. They actually ordered a really cool product. I had hoped to bring it with me, but they sold it at the Arts and Crafts show, so I wasn't able to. But it's actually a Yahtzee cup that you can put your dice in. Obviously, we're going to drop 2 of the dice, put it down to 3, make it Bunko cups. They made one with the City of Clovis logo on it for me to bring, but like I said, they did sell it at our Arts and Crafts show. But that's the additional expense there and why there are 2 entries for Dotson laser engraving. But really neat product we'd love to give out to our Bunko friends. So that should be December 2022, not December 2021. Wait.
18 months. So now I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm confused too. That's me doing math incorrectly. So it should be July through June. Okay. So it is for 12 months of Bunko. And it does say December. Okay, my apologies. I am asking for 12 months of funding, not just 6 months. Thank you, Ann. Sorry about that. It does. Absolutely.
Okay, I gotcha.
Misty, when do you plan on, is the next one on a Friday?
Yes.
And
It'll start in June,
Okay.
so it will not be included in this. That'll be the money that you awarded me 2 months ago in March. We'll use up the rest of that $300 for trophies, and then we have $100 left for advertising on Facebook. So that'll be off of the previous one. Starting in July is when we would start this request.
And you'll start, this will be the later start. What about the partnership? When will that start? You said partnerships possibly with trying to keep people in town.
So just depending on what other events are happening. So we have not scheduled these yet. Like I said, we are looking at Fridays or Saturdays. If, for example, the fight is on a Saturday night, what a great weekend to have Bunko on Friday and then stay in town so that the fight could happen on Saturday night. So like I said, depending on when events are booking.
Post weigh-in,
Yes,
Bunko.
absolutely.
That actually would be pretty sweet. Any other questions?
I don't have any.
No.
Thanks, Misty.
Great, thank you.
And you've got the next 2, correct?
Yes.
So the next one is the OPO Outdoor Show.
Absolutely, yes. And I'd like to invite up, I know your name. Yeah, this is my friend, Chris Egbert. So I'm going to allow him time to speak, and then I'll answer any questions that he has as I'm working with him. It's his first time, so.
Good evening. Like Misty said, my name is Chris Egbert. I retired from Canon in 2018. In my time retiring, found I had some trouble transitioning to civilian life after 23 years of service. So in that, I started this organization called Operation Phoenix Outdoors. What we do is, it's all about outreach, it's all about stopping the 22. The 22, of course, is the 22 veterans that kill themselves every day in the United States. New Mexico being leading the nation in suicides currently. We beat Montana out. I don't think it's something good, but it is what it is. And a veteran is 1.5 times more susceptible to committing suicides than someone, a civilian. So there's forms of therapy in every way. Mine's the outdoors. So in 2018, I brought some guys out. 2019, brought more out. And then in 2020, after talking with some people, I started a nonprofit. Now, as you look through that booklet, that's the 2020 hunts. Of those, 75% of them were from out of town. So all those people I paid for hotels. So already not supporting the 2 events that I'm asking for help with, I'm already bringing people in, okay? Now, the first event is the Operation Phoenix Outdoors Outdoor Show. And what that is basically we'll bring vendors from across the state, including Texas, Colorado, that are going to be outdoor in nature. Not that we're having the show outdoors. I did have a vendor ask that. I guess I should have clarified. But what we're going to do is we're bringing in taxidermists, meat processors, archery shops, different gear. You know, this isn't a gun and knife show. I don't want to deal with the security and all the other things. But this is everything else, all right? Albuquerque usually has a show. It's run by the Fish and Game. And because of COVID, they canceled it last year and they canceled it this year. So therefore, you have plenty of outdoorsmen that are looking for handmade elk calls or whatever, that are looking to either sell them or buy them, okay? So already I've invited 40 different vendors. Again, about 80% of them are from out of town, furthest one being north of Colorado Springs, and then as west as Farmington. We have a professional bass fisher that has his own bait business, and he wants to come sell lures. While we are inviting people locally, most of it is outside of the community because of what the show, what I want it to have the feel of. You know, I don't want it to be something that, there's limited outdoor supplies here, let's be honest. You know, you can go to Big Five and pick over what everybody else wants, or go to Walmart and buy something from China, or you can maybe High Plains Guns or DC Tactical, or Gibos or something. You're not gonna find much. So what I'm trying to do is bring that craftsmanship. We've got woodworkers, metal workers, leather workers, cowboy candles. Didn't know that was a thing until the arts and crafts show. But with that said, there's only gonna be 4 events like this in Clovis this year because of COVID and everything like that. The one that already happened, which was successful, and then there's a couple others that are gonna be smaller. This one right here, we're trying to get the entire event center full. We're gonna do a car show on Saturday. It's going to be a 3-day event in that they come in Friday and hopefully stay through Monday because they're so successful and have so much money they want to party here. But like I said, a car show, we have a guy coming from Albuquerque that's going to do, he makes handmade calls and doing call demonstrations. We've got a taxidermist that's going to have the entire lobby as a taxidermist kind of outdoor or mount exhibit. Most of my volunteers, probably 90% of them will come from out of town, coming from Kirtland and Holloman. Because this is a military-based type of thing, and I was a chief, so I know a couple people. A lot of them are going to, you know, as you look through our stuff, we've got banners and decals, t-shirts, hats, all the normal stuff, but the posters are gonna go up on Kirtland Air Force Base. You know, they're gonna be seen in different places that typical Clovis Cannon events aren't going to be able to have, okay? It says wrap the truck. I already have a quote. Now I'm not doing the really cool, you know, auto image from tail to tail, but it's going to be in the theme of, I have a Dodge long bed that's going to be nothing but OPO, Clovis, this outdoor show, okay? I asked the same thing for the banquet, all right? Because they're going to be 2 different days. I have 2 different trucks. I'll have both of them done. Now, when I say I have 2 different trucks, we use all of my stuff to bring all these veterans out. So right now, I know we're new. You've never heard of us, probably. I guarantee some of the people you know have, if they're vets or military or first responders. We're doing outreach to all of the different firehouses, the police department, the base. I have regional volunteers, if you will. I have them in Hobbs, Carlsbad, Albuquerque, and also Alamogordo. And they're also going to be helping. It's not going to be me going and putting posters up. It's me sending posters to these guys and saying, hey, get this out to the masses, okay? And again, this is all built around the idea of therapy, 2018-19 was very, very rough for me. And I got invited to a hunt for combat wounded vets down in Texas, and it basically built this idea. I'm modeling off of what they do. Most of the hunts, we have 40,000 acres north of town that a couple of ranchers allow me to manage and use. So therefore, antelope tags alone, I'll do 40 antelope hunts this year. And because I work with Fish and Game, I know, it's rough. Back of my truck stinks. Just saying, maybe shouldn't have shared that. Anyways, so I work for Fish and Game, which includes game wardens have been invited to this. The pronghorn biologist would like to come down and have a table so he can kind of talk about, the different things that ranchers can do to help pronghorn, whether it's, 16-inch lower fence line and just different things like that. But because I've put in the effort, my tags are good from the middle of August to the end of January. So I bring guys that entire time. It's not, I'm trying to do 40 tags in 9 days of August season. I'm running all the way through. This year we've already done 3 turkey hunts, 2 bass fishing trips, 1 salmon trip. If it's 7 o'clock, they're raffling off. And when I say raffle, we do random drawings. We're doing a fly fishing trip up in Cimarron. So we have support from the outdoor community. We've got one outfitter that's helped donate tags, and we're going to put a kid on a $10,000 elk hunt this year. He's learning to walk right now, so hopefully he'll be ready. But he was one of our local guys. I guess you guys might remember the guy in October that he was a passenger, but the driver wrapped his car around a tree, shattered his pelvis, shattered his right leg. But he's going to be, if we can get him ready, he's going to be the guy who hunts. Give him something to look forward to. So, with all that rambling, are there any questions?
Thank you for all that information and
This
for
is
what you
first
put on.
time. We need to throw a lot of questions.
Hey, be rough
at
on
him.
me.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been in front of a board.
Board, any questions?
I don't got any questions at all.
I do. So, Chris, if I'm understanding this right, this consumer show, you're bringing in vendors from all over.
It's a
so
man
there's
arts
gonna
and
be-
craft show. Yep.
So there's going to be stays there.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to have stays from that.
Yes.
And this event is meant to raise funds.
Yes.
To help pay for these activities.
This is perpetual motion.
And some of these hunts are made local as well, so that could draw in more people.
Oh, so it's
for
not
these
some,
hunts.
it's majority.
Salmon hunt, where are you salmon fishing?
Well, I said majority, I didn't say all. See, there's a difference, words matter.
Yeah, I'm seeing quail
We
and deer
stock
and
Green
antelope.
Acres.
We use Garrett's Gun Dogs out of Grady area. He's the one we do quail hunts through. We also, if we get water this year, we'll do geese on the wheat fields right off the cap and things like that. Now, I don't bring so when I bring guys in to hunt, I pay for everything. I have the fuel or snacks, sometimes meat processing. I've paid for mounts. One of the pictures you'll see me and another guy and then a really old looking dude. That's Zach. He has melanoma. It's a weird cancer of the plasma. His wife reached out to an organization and asked if somebody could bring him on his last bucket list hunt, and we brought him down. He stayed 5 nights here in Clovis. He ate dinner at my house because of COVID, of course. But we had local businesses help bring in food every night. A local taxidermist is the one that actually mounted the head for him and everything like that. So the money that is generated from all of this goes straight back into me going and getting breakfast burritos at Don Maria's before we go up and hunt. Or I'm not going to bring them to Chili's. I'm not going to bring them to anything that the bigger cities they're probably coming from have. I'm going to bring them to what I love about Clovis, all right? So yes, I'm a retiree. This is the longest I've ever lived anywhere in my entire life, and we're still here. My boys call this home. I call it home. So it's kind of one of those things of, I fit here, I guess, in a way.
You do, in a way.
Yeah, my wife does too. She probably does better, but yeah.
Well, so Chris, coming from a hunting family, I know people will travel hundreds of miles for events like this, so I would take your advertising well beyond Albuquerque, and I'd be doing Las Cruces, and
Oh, yeah,
I'd be
all
going
of New Mexico,
all
and then
over.
we'll do Lubbock, Amarillo, and then I have buddies up in OKC that they'd probably just want to come down to hang out. But again, that's more rooms, right? So the banquet, I've got people flying in from Virginia that are sponsors that want to come back in, that were stationed here and kind of get together. So any damages, I'm not responsible. However, there are, there's a big draw to, you know, a lot of people say thank you for your service. A lot of people say, you know, oh, let's stop the 22. I feel like with OPO, we're actually doing something about it. So, yeah.
And I apologize, I missed what the wrap was.
So the wrap will be basically a moving billboard. So it'll have the dates, it'll have, you know, brought to you by Lodgers Tax, Clovis, the city of Clovis, and all of that stuff. So it's.
So it's not a permanent.
No, well, it can be, but yeah, they're just decals. Okay. And they're going to be done by Clovis Sign. Okay.
Chris, I have a couple questions on the banners.
Yes,
Are the banners local? Are they put up at other Air Force bases, other cities?
Yes, so they'll be local, and then they'll also be at different locations within the state.
Okay. And the truck wrap is your vehicle?
Yes.
Obviously traveling more than just local?
Yeah, so it's, well, I have several VA appointments, so I go to Lubbock a lot. And then I have to travel a couple different places, like the radio advertising. Not only do we have the advertising, but we have different, New Mexico in the morning, I think is out of Hobbs. They'd like to do a kind of a, come in and talk to us, and again, that would be free advertising. So the big thing is, you know, getting the word out to New Mexico, especially, again, there's not going to be an outdoor show in Albuquerque this year. I went to the one 2 years ago, and it wasn't great anyway. So I want to get more into, we're limiting how many things. Like, I'm not going to have 12 taxidermists. I'm not going to have a whole bunch. It's like the meat processors. They're already filled up. There's a new guy here in town. He's a vet, and then there's one out of Lubbock that they're coming in to do it. That's it. Taxidermists and outfitters, it's limited to 4. You know, I don't want it to be, no offense to arts and craft shows, but you look at the same pot holder every time. I don't like going to those stores.
Not last weekend.
Not last weekend. But with that said, like Salvage and Sparkle, we've asked them to come and have a larger booth so that it can appeal to those wives or whoever else that is tagging along that maybe doesn't want to do, you know, the latest and greatest. This is made out of rosewood, whatever, duck call that costs money. So.
Yeah, it does.
T-shirts and hats, giveaways,
Yes, sir.
and then trophies?
So that's part of the car show. So we're going to get with Desert Cruisers and have them help us. We'll have like a traditional car show, and then we're going to do like a hunting truck, muddiest, whatever. We haven't really nailed down that category, but it'll be in true redneck form, something good. Something that I've always wanted to win, but they don't have that category.
And then last thing I had was your total marketing costs. You had $9,300. Leanne, will you check my math?
All right, so I had help from somebody doing math.
I got 99.
Misty, you're fired.
I just wanted to make sure you guys were on it. I can take my shoes off and count if we need
Checked
to.
it twice.
I could have.
Misty checked it twice.
Yeah.
Thomas might be wrong.
Siri says 9,300.
Yeah, so I have all the faith in my host, 100%.
I
Yeah.
used Siri. She lied to me. All right. Thank you for answering those.
Everybody else good? For both events, or do you want me to
No,
talk the other one too?
This is just for this event. Any
All
other
right.
questions?
No questions.
So now the OPO Banquet.
So the Opioid Banquet is basically on the heels of our outdoor show. We'll be selling tickets and things like that to that. It'll be a one-night event, but it'll be geared towards awareness, of course, is the big one. We're going to have a guest speaker. We'll recognize all of our sponsors from 2020. We're going to bring in all of the vets that hunted with us throughout the year if they're available. So that, again, is bringing people in from each part of the state, as well as I have sponsors in Texas and, like I said, Virginia and some other places that we're going to kind of all come together. And it's really, it's not to parade anybody or anything like that, but it definitely is to do outreach and then also help fund the rest of the year. We're going to give out, it's just over $100,000 worth of hunts this year. So that's free, clear to, kids. We had, I think it was 9 first-time hunters last year. My youngest was 8. It was amazing. He shot better than probably half the people that hunted with me. But it's just kind of come together as a group of people concerned about veteran suicide.
Board, any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Mine was just the same truck wrap as.
So that'll be a separate truck wrap with the dates, everything like that. It'll be more of to highlight the Stop the 22 and things like that, but very similar.
And then banners, same thing.
Yes, sir.
Rewrapping the same truck?
No, ma'am.
Oh, it's a whole separate truck,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
This year with us expanding, we're going to have to run 2 trucks at one time. So it's a good problem to have. Yeah.
All right.
And then none of these, so like the banners and things like that, we'll get creative on how to put dates on them so that next year when I do this, I don't ask you for the same banners. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm fiscally responsible.
Yeah, talking her language. Any other questions?
Yes, the 2,400 that's going to the invitations and tickets, that's also going outside of the community.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
advertising spent
Yes, yes,
outside,
ma'am.
is
Yes,
to
ma'am.
pull all these people in.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, so basically I'll plug the same radio shows when I'm saying, hey, we're doing an outdoor show, but we'll also, that's when we'll bring up, we're doing the banquet as well. So.
That's all we have.
All right. Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
Chris. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well done for first time.
All right. That is all the applications we have. Want to take a couple minutes?
Up to the ladies.
I'm okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
I have a couple more questions for the,
We're done with those questions.
I'm sorry. Ms. Koss was kind enough to provide me with the grant agreement for the New Mexico True campaign. And so I just have a couple of questions for Rachel and for Chase, potentially.
I'm here.
Thank you. And so, looking through the grant agreement, it says that you have to adhere to the New Mexico True brand style guide. And so, we don't have much say in what the brand's going to look like.
So it's more that, kind of like similar to lodger's tax, where if they're helping us fund this project, we're gonna need to make sure that it includes the New Mexico True logo somewhere on the website, and that it's used according to their style guides. So we are still able to have the liberty to create the brand that we're wanting, but I do have that style guide available for Garrett Mayfield to make sure that we're following those things as well. But for the most part, it's just including their logo on the website.
Okay. And then obtain prior approval from the Mexico Tourism Department for any and all use of the brand, their brand or our brand?
Their brand.
Okay. And then as part of the application, it says, congratulations, they're willing to match $7,000 based off of your application. So what did you guys budget or commit to prior to coming to the Lodgers Tax Board to cover your expense?
So that, the chamber right now has committed to covering the 3,000 that we're, the 1/3 of the cost that we're requesting.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you. And thank you so much for giving me the time to ask those couple of follow-up questions.
Justin, based on those questions, did you have any other input related to that, or?
Well, it seems to me that the funds were committed by the chamber to do this, and now they've come to the Lodgers Tax Board to ask for us to cover the expenses so that they're not out their own monies to do this. And just quickly reading through the grant agreement, like I said, we're tying ourselves to the New Mexico Tourism Department, which I understand, but it sounds limiting on from their brand style guide and what we can do, which I get from a state standpoint, trying to market the entire state and the whole New Mexico True brand. It's a good campaign. And so just wanted to make sure that we're aware of that there is some strings attached with those funds that the New Mexico Tourism Department is supplying to make this website happen.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Justin. All right, if we're good to go, we'll start with reviewing.
Okay, since you've been through all the trouble explaining that, yeah, bring it over.
We got a penny collector.
I don't know if I can put it on a Foxy's for a banana split or something.
Real quick story about it. So
Come on, you
today I was at
exonumus.
Tucumcari and at where I got the penny from, some restaurant, I don't even remember the name of the restaurant, but Yvonne and Yvette, who were the owners of the restaurant, say that people send them money to get pennies to send them back, and that people go out of the way to travel there. Pennycollector.com is the website that you go to, and we literally plan our vacations around where we can go to get pennies. So fantastic tourism thing for people who were crazy about smashed pennies.
She gave them to us too.
I know, but which one you get?
Kansas City.
Kansas City. Which one you get?
I got Dell's something.
Let me see that.
Pacific Science Center?
Dells, New Mexico. Where is Dells, New Mexico? I never heard of that.
That was where I was today, in Tucumcari.
Tucumcari.
Having lunch there.
Oh, Dells restaurant. Okay. Okay. So I got 3 pennies here. Who wants to trade?
And you can ask Misty, we collect certain pennies, because certain pennies are better smashed than other
There's
pennies.
your penny.
So you have to look for certain age of pennies.
I got Seattle.
Yeah, the Seattle Aquarium. Check that one out.
Minted prior to 1982. But we all have them in our purses.
And if you turn the date out, then the date will be on the back.
Pacific Science Center. Butterflies. Seattle Aquarium.
Right,
Cool.
ready? All right, Force of One Martial Arts, we'll go back to the top. So looking at the plan and budget, we eliminated the octagon. We eliminated the T-shirts. We eliminated the
Amazon prices? Or do we get?
cage fighter equipment from being funded.
Okay.
We also, the T-shirts are allowable, but just for the participants. And the banners are allowable if they're not, if they're advertising outside the venue, outside the arena. And so, I didn't know if she was planning to
change
and maybe use some of the monies from the.
Sponsor support.
Okay. So yeah, we eliminated the banners. My math, I eliminated the octagon, the banners, and the gloves, hand wraps, $1,000.
So 7,500.
Correct.
Leanne?
So you had 29,400, right?
Yeah, I ended up with 29,400. Which that math then doesn't
Plus
add
the
up.
15,000 unused though.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
7,000.
And then the unused from 2020.
Correct. So it would be a 14,400 new allocation. If you carry over the 15,000 from last year, plus a new allocation of 14,400 would get you to the 29.4.
Any issues with funding 14,400?
No,
I
just-
support it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go with that. Second application is the true roping. There we go. So they also had 15,000 unused. And you, on the 2020, the 2,000 that they had added in for ads for roping, you can, because they have a receipt, just put that, okay. So that's part of it.
So the way I did simple math was the 40,000 minus the 15,000 for a new allocation of 25,000. So within her 40,000, she included that 2,000 from.
From 2020?
Correct.
Yeah, part of the cost of the trucks.
Correct. Basically for the wraps for the trucks.
Well, the wraps were full.
Oh, that's two. Yeah. Portion of the cost of the
About 8,600, about 8,630 for help with the truck.
truck, correct.
And are we doing any help for trucks?
That's,
I did have a question, actually, regarding, on the first one. It brings up a question on the stickers. And she brought it up in her presentation, but you buy a ball, you put a sticker on it that says, brought to you by the City of Clovis, you take the sticker off. Are we buying the sticker and the ball, or are we just buying the sticker? Because that's what we've done with the truck, is we've said, you buy the ball, we'll buy the sticker, with the caveat that you keep the sticker on for a year. With the other ones, with the fight, it was like, there's no, I mean, it just seemed, we're talking money on the prize, but putting a sticker on, you know.
and we've done that. I mean, we have had allowed groups to purchase promotional items, and then however they get the logo and the stickers and everything on there, it's up to them. But we have allowed
Your
people
attention, please. The library will close in 30 minutes. New library card applications will not be processed after this time. Thank you.
Do you have any pull?
I've got to go get my library card. And so, but no, we have allowed people to use stickers to put onto
But
promotional items.
do we buy the sticker and the toy?
Yes.
Okay. I guess as long as they buy the stickers from the same company, that they put it on any piece of cooking equipment, the sticker will never come off.
Right.
Like, my wife brings home a spatula, the sticker is on there for about 3 years.
That's true.
Built it in. Those stickers. All right, so what was the simple math?
25? Did you say 25, Justin?
That was with 40, that was including some for the trucks.
Right.
You took the full 40 less the 15,000 from last year would leave you with 25 new allocation for this year.
That includes how much for the trucks? If we
8,630.
Commissioner, do you have any?
The total marketing request was 31,370.
Any thoughts on funding
No, I
partial
think
with the truck?
that's good. I'm okay with the truck, with the 86, yeah.
Okay, so
I would second that.
full fund of 25,000?
Yes.
25.
Visit Clovis Tourism website.
The thing that gets me with this is I think the state is actually putting pressure on this because they're allocating some funding for that. So I say just do it and get it over with and move on.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, it's 3554 investment in our tourism and promoting Clovis in a very positive light. I think we don't have much to lose with that one. And I know that the New Mexico Tourism would be supportive of us with minimal compliance, making sure that we're utilizing their logo properly.
Right.
Any other thoughts?
No, I'm good with it. I think, I see the website as the same as those, the magazines, booklets that we also do. I see it as the same thing. It's gonna just bring more people in.
My only thought is, I think this site is more falls under the category of tourism.
Not attached with something else, yeah.
Yeah, but we just, we just funded the branding initiative.
Yeah.
So when next year, when it comes back, are we funding now the branding initiative as a site and a tourist, like this site? Or do we say this is do we say okay on both? Because
I see them as two different things. The branding
different
initiative is
things
kind of coming up with a branding as a whole for the community.
but does that fall under lodger's tax?
The branding?
And if I recall the discussion during the community branding discussion, we did talk about tourism, and that's how we made the tie to the lodger's tax, saying, hey, this is our brand, this is who we are going to use also as a tourism aspect to make that connection.
And then we're just like now we're being asked for another website that's for tourism. So are we funding now in the future two different sites? That was, because it felt like the last time they came before the board with the branding initiative was this is the shiny bike. And now we funded the shiny bike, and then it's like, but this bike, the bike that could do anything, and that's why we funded it, and now we're getting this, but this bike is better. So now we have two bikes. So it just seemed like, and I know things change. In 2014, we did the chamber website that was supposed to be the be-all, end-all for advertising what Clovis is in tourism, and that changes. But to quickly have two things that came before the board is, I think this is an inexpensive site creation, but now maintenance and going forward, have we created two different animals, or do we have one animal in this from a tourism-based?
And I don't know from the New Mexico True campaign side of it, so is it going to be, Taco Box, New Mexico True? Do we have to tie, is it going to be?
It can be Foxy's.
Is it going to be Juanito's, New Mexico? I don't know how that has to, I don't know what the rules are when it comes to the branding side of the website and tying it to the New Mexico True campaign. Like I said, I think the New Mexico True campaign is a wonderful thing, and there's nothing wrong with it. I just don't know what the rules are. And so as a community, as we look at a community branding standpoint and what we are potentially trying to accomplish with that from a tourism aspect, can we make that thread and tie the two together?
I think
Or are we going to have to create something on this tourism side and then take our community branding side and say, okay, well, we've got this, we have to use this, and now we need to adapt this to this, if that makes sense.
Well, the branding is gonna be there forever. The tourism thing is this year or whenever the summertime comes. You will promote tourism because that's the time that you're gonna bring people into the community. So I see it as two different things.
And it's a 3-year host. They have to host it for 3 years.
There you go. So let's do it, move on, and it will work out. Without putting Foxy's or Taco Box on the spot.
I was just saying, one of the things we were asked before the commission on the branding initiative was, do we have to fund this every year?
This, we would not. This is just for the design and the development of the website. Then it's in place. And then as I understood it, and Kim, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but then the chamber would be maintaining it, because,
But the chamber just comes back to the lodger's tax board.
well, they don't come back to redesign and redevelop a website. they might, and I would actually encourage them to come back to ask for money to promote the website, because a website really doesn't do any good to have it there unless you're promoting it out there. So this is a one-time shot. And what I heard Rachel say is that then they would give her the access to do the updates and changes and things like that. So the only going forward cost that I would expect would be if they wanted money to promote it, which I would encourage, because this website is only good.
Agreed, but that was the same question that the commission asked on the branding initiative, was, is this going to be, are we going to be asked every year to fund this? So it's just another thing that the board has to,
To consider.
to consider.
Right, but
is-
the branding initiative, I see as something completely different that we just need to layer with the tourism. But again, I'd like to hear from other people, but.
And for all transparency, from a website standpoint, the lodger's tax did pay for the Chamber's website in 2006, then they paid for the Chamber's website in 2014.
Was it an upgrade?
And so it may have been an upgrade, but they are supposed to be maintaining it from 2014 going forward because they're supposed to have the capabilities in-house to do that. So I would hope that there would be those same capabilities in-house to maintain whatever website is given to them.
But we also pay around $4,000 a year for the system to maintain it. So it's just because it was funded twice doesn't mean that there's not been thousands of dollars put into it outside of lodger's tax for the Chamber's website.
Chase, wasn't there an upgrade? There was an upgrade to Chamber Master in
We
2000.
do, it's upgraded every year, and it's a system that we maintain and purchase, but we pay them to do changes to it too and build pages for it. We can also build pages, so there has been a couple of times that we have asked for money, but there's been a lot of additional money that's been invested. It's outside of what you guys have funded. And when we did that, the branding initiative, if you go back to the proposal, you know, we're developing a brand, and then we're developing and getting a process to get everybody on board and all that. But we talked about in that last meeting when y'all voted to fund it and the city commission voted to approve it, that it doesn't include all the marketing pieces of it. And if you go back and look at the scope of work, you know, it's building the brand, we're getting the logo design, we're getting all that stuff put together, we got the committee, and then there's gonna be advertising and marketing is gonna be tied into that. It's gonna be in addition to it, so.
Well, that was part of the lodger's tax request also. So they approved the scope of work for the branding initiative, and then they approved, correct, then they approved additional scope of work for the, I believe it was an additional $10,000 for the design work.
That's right. But it didn't include developing a website, or like the website's not in that scope of work, or ads or those kind of things. It was not any of that scope of work that was approved.
That is correct.
I would move to approve for the full amount.
I second that.
Okay. Full approval? 3554.
Do we need to do yeas and nays? No? Okay.
No, we're just putting it out there. We don't have the final.
Next one, Clovis Children's Acton Enterprise and Business Fair.
I think on this one, if you're gonna have it either October 9th or the 16th, is on a Saturday, right?
Yes, sir.
So if you advertise heavily on this and you're gonna bring the people on Friday, if you're gonna start it early in the morning, then you're generating room nights. So that's something just to think about, that one.
Thoughts, anyone? I mean, it's new,
And we always support the new ones, so.
I'm
I like.
full fun. Yeah.
If it doesn't happen, we don't pay. Okay.
Fully fun.
That's good enough.
Anybody? Everybody good?
I'm good.
Everybody, I'm good.
8850?
The only thing with that one is employee time dedicated to organization activities.
But it's,
The event organizer is
as long as
allowed.
it's documented.
It is allowed, okay. Then 8850.
Downtown souvenir memorabilia machines.
No?
I don't,
Why not? I like pennies, I like these ones.
You should buy them and put them out. You'll make money.
$2.
yeah, I don't see that it falls within lodger's tax. Anybody disagree? Okay.
No, I agree with you.
So no funding on pennies.
Yeah, Lisa.
Monthly bunco game nights. This is the 12-month funding, July through June. I almost want to go partial fund for a partial amount of time to see if we can get any room nights generated. And looking at funding, the majority of it is going to trophies and awards and participant products for something that we had 6 people outside of it come in. So to spend 5,000 on trophies and prizes and 1,200 on advertising without generating a room night. I would maybe, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months worth of funding?
I'd like to
and then
see
come back?
just 3 months worth of it.
Okay.
Just to see if it does bring any nights in.
Thoughts?
I kind of agree partial.
Your attention, please. The library will close in 15 minutes. Please bring your items to the circulation desk for checkout now. And patrons on computers, please begin closing your programs. Thank you.
Vicky, close your program already.
Oops.
I agree with you on that though, Thomas, is to
That's
maybe look at it after a 3-month time frame and see.
So 3 months of funding is that 1,550?
1550.
Okay.
Would you consider knowing what our timeframes are, working it so that
Oh,
they would potentially, maybe 4 months?
4
just
months?
so that they would have
That
time
makes-
to
okay.
bring and then have time to come back to
between,
commission.
that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
You got 2,066.
What about their 67 cents?
Do you want to round to 60,
Do
2067?
I hear? I hear another penny?
How much is it?
1,067.
1,067. Are you killing me?
Good, all right. Chris, and the OPO outdoor show.
I think this has great potential, and I would encourage us to support the entire amount.
Yeah, do you want to fully fund both events?
Yes?
Yes.
If you could work on bringing in somebody who can make a fish call, that would help me out.
So this dude named Blue, he's from Louisiana, he's one that owns Blue's Baits.
He can make,
He can do it.
all right, deal.
He's a whisperer.
Got a fish whisperer.
What's there to say?
What's that? Oh, I don't know. I don't trust Siri anymore. 7871.
70,871.
70,871?
Yes.
So,
Using that doesn't include the carryover amounts, because there are a few budgets.
okay, great. Do I have a motion to approve all of the recommendations?
I move to approve.
Gail with the first motion and a second.
I'll second.
Freddie was closer to me. Freddie with the second motion. All in favor? All opposed, same sign. That sound good?
That's good.
Okay.
Yours sound good.
Motion has carried. And before ending the meeting, is there anything for the good of the order?
And just to let the board know that the Curry County Fair, the funds that we've carried over from this last fiscal year, they're going to use towards the fair this year. And the same with the Softball Association, the funds that we carried over because all their events were canceled, they're going to use towards their events this year.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for working with those two to get them out. All right, there being no further business to discuss, we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Gail.